I've been a men's fat loss coach for over 15 years, and in today's video, I'm going to break down the top comments on Reddit when it comes to giving advice for men's weight loss. I'll tell you if it's good or bad advice. At the end of the video, I'll give you the 3 to 5 things that you need if you want to burn your belly for good. Let's jump right into it. All right, guys, you ready? Here's how it's going to work. I got my laptop right here. I haven't even read these comments yet, but I'm just going to pull these comments up on the screenshot for you. That way you can play along with me. I'll give you my live reaction, and remember, stick around to the end because I'll give you the 3 to 5 best things that you need if you're a man over 30 who wants to lose his belly. Okay, so the question is very straightforward. Men of Reddit, how do you lose weight? Now let's scroll down and see these comments here. I'll do about 3 to 5 per thread, and I got about 2 threads. So the very first comment is, I cut out soda about 12 years ago and dropped 10 pounds without really trying or doing anything different. So I actually really like this comment. And now here's the thing. He said he cut out soda completely. Like a lot of people, right? Like they don't want to give up certain things. So if you can't or don't want to cut out something, then definitely try to limit it. But point being, and what I agree with about this comment is you want to try to minimize your liquid calories essentially the best you can. So if you drink Coke, maybe try to have like Diet Coke, or let's say if it's even like coffee, like cream and sugar and coffee, have like black coffee. So I do agree with this comment that little things like that add up like crazy. And if you have a lot of calories in your drinks, that's what I like to call hidden calories. And those things can creep up pretty fast. So cutting out or even, minimizing how much soda intake you're having per day can be an absolute game changer in terms of losing simple fat just like that. So good comment. I'm not going to try to say that names. Krista, get off the wings if you're somehow watching this right now. Let's scroll down a little bit here. Number 2, no alcohol, no sugar, simple as that. Now, this one I disagree with. And you might be thinking, like, why? No alcohol, no sugar. Again, this kind of goes back to the soda thing, right? Like, this individual said he cut out soda, which is a good tip. I definitely recommend that if possible. But try to cut out no alcohol, no sugar for a lot of people is just very unrealistic, right? Like you could probably do it for like a month or 2 or 3 months if you're really dedicated. But what's going to happen, like, 6 months later, when you're at a party or at a restaurant, everyone's having like food, maybe drinks, but you're like, nope, I can't have sugar, I can't have alcohol. You don't want to live like a robot, right? And this is kind of like my big thing in terms of like my Fit Vision Brother statement is we like to really coach men to lose fat, but not live like a robot. So I probably disagree with this comment. If you can limit your alcohol and limit your sugar intake, then that's a much better approach than completely cutting things out of your diet, because 90% of people, here's a pretty crazy stat for you, 90% of people who lose a significant amount of weight gain it back over 3 years later. It's because they do things like this. They cut out alcohol, they cut out sugar, and then when they lose their weight, they introduce these foods back into their diet, and that's how it comes to a bit of a slippery slope, if that makes sense. Let's go down a little bit. We'll do about 2 more here, and I'll go to the next one. So this individual says, in my personal experience, it wasn't so much just eating less, but I rather need to control the portion of food when I ate, and sometimes understanding that's okay to feel hungry and choose not to eat anything. And only recommend to start small, like eating better a teeny bit for a week, then a bit the second week, and so on until it's muscle memory to eat less and only eat when truly hungry. I think this is pretty good advice right here. This is really good advice, actually. So he's basically just talking about, like, don't try to do everything all at once, because he's right about that. And I think a lot of guys get overwhelmed where we try to like count calories, we try to this and try to that, but like just, start eating better a little bit. Kind of like the comments we talked about earlier. Maybe it's just like, modifying or limiting how much soda you're taking in. Then the next week, maybe it's, okay, let's get more protein. And next week, it's, okay, maybe we got to eat a bit less. So I do agree with the overall premise of what he's saying is start small and build your good habits from there. So Benza Kuwait, I like your comment, buddy. I'm going to agree with you on that one. Let's go from, I'll get a bit of a smaller one here because this one's a little bit long. Let's scroll down here. Okay, so it's all about your diet. Exercise helps, but without a calorie deficit, you won't see any results. Start taking your diet seriously. That means figure out your maintenance calorie amount and track your macros every day to have a healthy deficit. Even without working out, you will see some results. Now, all this is very true on paper, but here's the issue with it. Like if you're just saying like, count your calories every single day and figure out your maintenance calories, for a lot of people, like that's pretty overwhelming, right? And I agree with the previous comment that you want to start small and then try to build those good habits, opposed to just like, get your maintenance calories, substitute from there, count your macros. For a lot of guys, it's just like very overwhelming, and you definitely don't have to do that. And I actually really don't even like preaching, counting macros. Again, I'll explain more later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. But overall, I would say the premise of this comment is correct, but I just don't think it's realistic for a lot of guys. And I think the other previous comments, when he kind of talks about starting small and going upwards, would be a lot more appropriate for at least 90 to 95% of guys. Okay, let's go to the other thread now. We'll do about 3 more comments, and I'll give you my advice at the end. So here is the comment, and this is a good one too. What is the best way to lose body fat without losing so much muscle? Because that's ultimately, guys, the name of the game, right? Like if we lose a shitload of weight, but a lot of that's muscle, then it's mission failed. So we want to make sure we're losing fat and keeping our muscle. So the very first comment is maintain or increase your gym performances while at a calorie deficit, eating sufficient protein. Yeah, like that's pretty much spot on. Like if this individual want to give like more advice from that, it's more like you want to quantify those numbers, right? Like how many workouts you're doing per week, what kind of workouts you're doing, how much protein you're having. So all of it is very true what he's saying. Just make sure when you get into that comment, you would want to quantify those numbers a lot more, because we want to have a plan. Second one, let's go down a little bit. Eat fewer calories overall, but maintain your protein intake. Again, good advice, but it's just very generic, right? Like we don't really have if you eat fewer calories, okay, that's gonna say if you want to make more money, make more. What are you gonna do? Like you're gonna say make more money, right? Like obviously that's very true, but again, just try to quantify those numbers. So yeah, lower your calories for sure, but quantify how many calories you're taking in, and then quantify again how much protein you're taking in. Let's go maybe 2 more. Lifting weights is never a bad idea. For sure, right? Again, guys, quantify what kind of workouts you're doing, how many workouts you're doing in the gym. Let's go to the last one here. We'll go spread on a little bit because a lot of these are pretty redundant. Advice that was given to me, which I stupidly dropped away from, is the secret is not the gym, it's in the kitchen. Eat smart and maintain a normal fitness plan. Don't hurt yourself and don't expect instant results. It takes time. Hope this helps. I would somewhat agree with this. Like, obviously, like, yeah, if you're talking fat loss, it's purely going to be in the gym, right? Like, you can, do tons of weights, you can do tons of cardio, you can walk 15,000 steps per day. But if you're eating like shit and you're having like, 8,000 calories, then you're not going to lose weight, right? So I never agree with that. But dismissing the gym and like lifting weights, that's the part I disagree with. Because a lot of times, guys, like the gym and nutrition are married. Because if you work out, you want to eat, better. If you eat better, you want to go to the gym probably. And if you just have one of those things, it's going to feel weird and you're not going to get the best results. And the problem is, and the question was, right, that we want to lose as much fat as possible, but maintain muscle. Well, to maintain your muscle, it comes down to basically a few main things. It's obviously your protein intake, what kind of workouts you're doing in the gym, and another very underrated one is recovery. So this comment's not bad. I definitely agree with the nutrition part when it comes to losing fat, but I do think he's maybe discounting how important the gym is for a lot of us when it comes to losing fat and just kind of having that good positive momentum overall. Okay, so what are the 3 to 5 things that you need if you want to ditch your belly for good? A lot of this stuff, guys, I would say is very good advice for the most part. The problem with it's just too generic. So the very first thing that you need to do if you want to ditch your belly for life is you have to have a plan. And I kind of mentioned this before. You have to quantify things. It might sound boring, but like, we're seeing a lot of like eat more protein, lift weights, walk, sleep, like all these comments, but you got to make sure you are, quantifying these things, like how many workouts you're doing per week, how much protein you're taking in, when can you work out, all these things that you you have to do, you got to make sure you plan these into your schedule, because if you're just kind of winging it and you don't have these quantified numbers, then there's a good chance you're going to fall off track later down the road. The second thing, and again, this might sound boring, but it's so important, and this is what we preach to every single one of our clients, is environment means everything. So you got to spend more time prepping and put yourself in a good situation, opposed to just kind of taking in more information, like eat more protein. For example, and there's the old saying, right? If you give a man a knife to chop down, or an axe to chop down the tree, he's going to, if he has 4 hours or whatever it is, he's going to spend the first 3 hours sharpening the knife, and then he's going to chop down the tree later. It's the same thing when it comes to fat loss here, guys. Like, if you're focusing all your efforts on achieving fat loss, but at the same time, you're not really, surround yourself in a good environment. Environment meaning, like, let's say the things your house, for example. Let's say you have like a shitload of chips and you have like a lot of alcohol that you're just trying to resist. Like, that's not putting yourself in a good environment. Or let's say you're going out in a lot of social situations. If you're doing that every single week, multiple times, again, you're just not putting yourself in a good environment. So you got to make sure that you have a plan, number one, but number two, you're surrounding yourself with the right people that are going the same journey as you are. Because if you do that, that's going to set yourself up and make going to the gym easier, being consistent easier, and basically having no motivational drop off. So again, this is off the dome. So I'm going to think of this right now. The third and final most important thing that I would say to you, if you want to lose your belly for good, is you have to find a sustainable eating plan. So a couple of these comments, right? It was like, cut out sugar, cut out alcohol, cut out this. Not to say it's bad advice, but you got to ask yourself, like, if you cut this thing out of your diet, can you sustain it? Like, for me, like, I had pizza and whiskey every single weekend. I have those things because they're necessary for me to stay low percent body fat, because it's sustainable for me. Like, if I didn't have pizza or whiskey every single weekend, I might sound like a degenerate right now, but that would kind of drive me crazy. And then, let's say I do that for a few weeks or months and lose a lot of weight and get ripped. I would just want those items back, and I'd probably just binge eat the pizza, because, you always want what you can't have, right? So instead of like cutting things out, guys, and trying to find like the next best diet, I would really recommend you to find an eating system that works best for you. And for a lot of guys, it's having like some of those favorite foods on the weekend, including sugar and alcohol, and just kind of making adjustments throughout the course of the week to make sure you can still lose fat and not live like a robot. Speaking of which, we literally just launched our free school community full of men who are looking to lose over 20 pounds of fat. And if you want to join it absolutely free, I'll put it in the description and the comments below. Join, like I said, it's 100% free. We'll teach you to do all this, basically how to lose fat without giving up your favorite foods, without living like a robot, and teach you how to work out only 3 to 4 times per week at home or the gym. That way you can make good progress and lose the belly fat for the rest of your life. Let me know, guys, if you like this video. If you agree with me, please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.